Who's the builder? Jesus is the builder. Where do we get that from? Well, go back to that verse, Matthew 16:18. I will build my church. On this rock, I will build my church. That's a very main important word. Jesus is the builder of the church. The church is the people. And so Jesus is the builder of the people or their lives. That's what it means. Again, the church is like a spiritual building. We are all part of that building. And Jesus is the one who is the builder. Go to 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 4. Peter talks about this in other places because he never forgot this teaching. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 4. As you come to him, a living stone, rejected by men, but in the sight of God, chosen and precious, you yourselves, like living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house. See that? To be a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. Look at how he talks to the believers. He's saying, you believers are like living stones, verse 5. And you are being built up as a spiritual house or a spiritual building. You are living stones. Living stones. Now try to imagine that. You've got to use your mind to imagine what the Bible is saying. Right? Use imagination for something and all. But for this we don't. We just read it and go away. Use your imagination. Stone, you have a stone, but this is not just a stone, it's a living stone. Now imagine if that stone over there outside just got up and started moving. That's living stone for you. The living stone has a mind of its own. It can move, it can stop, it can do what it wants. It has life within itself. Living Peter is saying, you are people, but you all make up this spiritual house. So think of yourself as living stones. And God is building you up as a spiritual house. Together, putting the stones together and building a spiritual building with it. Jesus is the builder. Right? Building work is not easy. There are builders probably here. But your work is much easier than Jesus' work. Because you are only dealing with dead stones. All the builders on earth are only dealing with dead stones. These stones don't move. They are just lie there and the builder takes it and decides it and puts it. But Jesus' work is very difficult because he brings the stone here and the stone decides to go there. And so now he's got to talk to the stone, convince the stone, say this is good for you. And come back here. Then he's got to convince it to stay here. And keep reassuring. You see what a difficult job it is that Jesus has. He is the master builder of the church. Amen. And he's doing something that is very remarkable. He's dealing with people, not stones and bricks and cement. He's dealing with people with a mind of their own, and yet he influences them. This is the power of Jesus, He doesn't show brute power, just punches, the people who show power by punching you in the face. Jesus shows you his power by changing your mind from the inside, changing your heart, and you yourself come and get on this. Now that's power. That's the power of the Lord Jesus Christ. He's building his church. He's building individual people's lives. He's changing. Has your life been changed? Have you seen improvement in your life? Have you seen progress in your life? My friend, who's responsible? It is Jesus, cutting away the things that need to be cut away, shaping you in the right way, building you up. And he's doing it in a corporate level, not just individual level. He's doing it to all of us and putting us all together in our right place and bringing up a beautiful spiritual house. That word house in Tamil comes out as Maligai. Maligai, mansion. He's building a mansion. I do think he's building a mansion. Why do you think Solomon's temple was glorious in the Old Testament? It was not to see how Solomon's temple is glorious. It is a type and shadow of what Jesus will build. The temple of the living God. The temple built out of living stones. Built out of you and me. This is the glorious temple. But the problem is, how can you show the glory of the building to one stone? One stone is only looking at the next stone next to it. and looking at the opposite wall. That is how we are sometimes. We don't see the glorious thing Jesus is constructing. For this, you got to kind of zoom out and see this amazing building. Look at this church. I think this church is an example. Right? People who come here, as a group, you are growing, improving, progressing, being blessed, fulfilling the plan of God in your life, to some extent at least, you see. He is the one responsible for that. He is the builder. Everybody say, Jesus, the builder.